The word personality comes from the Latin word persona, which literally means a theatrical mask. Shakespeare famously wrote that all the world is a stage, and in a way, he was right, because your personality is a constant performance. It is the mask you wear to fit in, and it is something that you can actively shift depending on who you're talking to. But the lesson that I want to share with you today is that beneath that mask lies something different, and that is your character. The ancient Greeks defined character as an engraving or a stamping instrument. Unlike your personality, your character isn't a mask you can just swap out. It is an internal stamp that is deeply engraved into your brain before you're even old enough to speak. It dictates your default habits, blind spots, and how you handle failure. The reason why this stamp is so important is that if you ignore it, you spend your entire life fighting against the grain of who you are. You try becoming someone you are not, making the same miserable mistakes over and over again. It will seem almost as if you are cursed. But if you can acknowledge it, you can actually learn how to work with the clay you were dealt. So to understand your stamp, your character, we need to look at the ocean model of personality, specifically the E, which stands for extroversion. And before you click off, this is not simply about whether you like hanging out with people or not. This is about so much more. In the laws of human nature, the author explains that if you lean more towards extroversion, you are largely governed by external criteria. This means that your brain naturally asks, what do others think of me? And you're easily drawn to what is popular. You value external things like style, trend, and large crowds. Also, you actively crave novel sensations. However, if you lean more towards introversion, Robert Greene argues that your nervous system is simply more sensitive. Too much outward activity literally exhausts you. You probably already know that. But while the extrovert looks outward for truth, the introvert looks inward. They are fascinated by their own deep opinions and feelings. They love to theorize or play philosopher. For example, if they create something brilliant like a nice piece of art, a piece of writing, or a video they've edited, well then they hate the idea of self-promotion. They think the idea should sell itself, because if it's good enough, well then it will get the numbers that it deserves. They don't like standing in the center of attention. Additionally, and you might see this with yourself or people who you are close to, they are the type of people who need secrets. They need a part of their life kept entirely separate from the crowd, something that will make them feel more special or different from other people. So because these two types process the world through completely different lenses, they almost never naturally understand each other. You could argue that, well, maybe they complement one another, like each one hides the weaknesses of the other person or compensates them with their strength. But that is rarely the case, because to the extrovert, the introvert looks stubborn, boring, and even antisocial, while to the introvert, the extrovert looks like they are shallow, flighty, and overly obsessed with external validation. Now, as I've read aloud these descriptions, you might see a mix of both tendencies in yourself, depending on the day or the way you feel right now, but fundamentally you trend in one direction. The thing with these two types is, each side thinks they're better, and as you probably expect, neither actually is objectively. No one is better, they are just different. Now, you might know this from other people or yourself. If you're introverted, for example, you try to be more extroverted. You want to be more social to improve your personality. But the thing is, you can't change that. You can't change your intro or extroversion. But the good part is, these things don't define strong or weak character. That is an entirely separate category, one that you can change. So you can imagine a strong character like a good piece of metal. It has a tensile quality. It can bend under pressure, but it never breaks. It comes from a core sense of personal security. Now, because you, if you have a strong character, feel secure, you can take criticism directly or face your own flaws, learn from mistakes. You can also handle chaotic situations or people without completely losing your mind. Again, you bend under pressure, but you don't break. So if those people are introverts, they don't let their sensitivity turn into isolation or antisocialness. And if you have a strong character or and are an extrovert, well, then you don't let your need for stimulation turn into toxic, constant attention seeking. Instead, you keep your word, you have patience, and you actually complete the things you start. You don't just leave things unfinished. While a weak character, and this is the thing that you want to move away from, the things that if you notice or relate to the things that I mentioned right now, those are the things that you have to watch out for, the habits you need to break. If you have a weak character, you are easily overwhelmed by circumstances. You are evasive to any problems or criticism, which is the worst part. A weak character is completely unteachable because learning requires you to admit that you were wrong, which is what they cannot do, because any feedback that you give to them feels like a severe threat to their sense of self, their identity. And what you notice is that when you give them criticism, they might nod along to your advice and say, yeah, you're right, but internally, they are just thinking, when will you be quiet? Again, you will probably notice both strong and weak character traits in yourself. The trap, however, is that the weakest parts of our character, these ones here, even if they are quantitatively lower, those are the parts that create our automatic compulsive behavior. You know, the impulsive system 1 type stuff. Now, you might ask yourself, why that is the case, and the answer is pretty simple. Those are flaws, and those flaws require absolutely zero effort or practice to maintain, while strong character traits usually require some sort of sacrifice or discomfort on your end. So the final question becomes, how do you actually build a superior character? How do you go from here to there? Well, it starts with the hardest step, and that is radical self-honesty. You cannot erase the stamp that was engraved onto you. It's too deep. If you are a hyper-perfectionist who wants to control everything, you can't just wish that trait away. But you can stop using that control to micromanage the people around you, and instead redirect that attention to detail, into creating flawless work, beautiful pieces of art. Or another example, if you are a people pleaser who naturally developed charm to survive, you can use that people pleasing as a genuine social skill rather than using it as a desperate defense mechanism. You will notice that as long as you are radically honest with yourself, as long as you're willing to look deep enough, you will always find that for every single weakness in your personality, there is a corresponding strength. So instead of denying who you are or trying to be something or someone that you are not, build a strong character, and that means that you embrace the clay you are given, not rejecting it and hoping to be handed another one. Instead, you take what you have, recognizing your toxic patterns and all your flaws, and using deliberate, everyday practice to shape your flaws into your absolute strongest sources of power. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below.